Also, Amanda Turkle with the Center for American Progress, who has worked for Democratic lawmakers, including Senator Charles Schumer, and also on Senator Joe Lieberman's presidential campaign. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you very much.
All right, and it's nice to have point counterpoint here with the Heritage Foundation and Center for American Progress. Let's talk first of all about some of these nominees, and specifically one that came. There's been a lot of talk, but Friday, of course, it kind of came to a head with Leon Panetta and being named as the choice to head the CIA. You worked for the CIA for many years. What's your take on this? Obviously, the criticism is that he has not had any type of intelligence background directly. What do you think?
Right. I think it was a disappointing choice. I don't think it was the right one. He doesn't have an intelligence background, and it's a position where you really do need, I think, a firm grounding in the arcane areas of intelligence. And also, I think it sends perhaps a negative signal in that the CIA works best when it's being conducted in a non-political, non-partisan way. And by having a former congressman, obviously, who's affiliated with a political party, it can be seen as more of a partisan position, runs a greater risk, I think, of being perceived as politicizing the intelligence. So he has to balance between having access to the president, but also being seen as not too closely a part of the president's team, because intelligence works best when it brings truth to power, and that it discusses what we call him like we see him, but not being seen as overly concerned with whether it supports the president's policy or not.
Amanda, I want to get your response to that, but before I do, Bruce, just a little insider baseball with you, because when we get to play insiders with people with the CIA, we really like to do it. What do you think, as somebody who worked for the CIA, though, as far as the people who work with that agency, how will they work for someone like Leon Panetta if there is that feeling that perhaps he wasn't the best choice for it? Will it make a difference for those working within the agency?
Well, the CIA officers are very professional. They will work with whoever's appointed as their director. So, I mean, there's no worry about that. But there is perhaps an impact on the morale, and more importantly, I think, a sense on the outside. If someone is seen as operating more partisan or more political, has those considerations, then it does run the risk of the intelligence being seen as a bit skewed.
Amanda, what do you think about this, and perhaps not just Leon Panetta, but the choices to head up intelligence in general?
Well, I think specifically with Panetta and also with Dennis Blair, who is heading intelligence for Obama. I think what President-elect Obama was trying to go for was someone who wasn't associated with President Bush's controversial policies, such as torture, such as wiretapping, and can restore some confidence in those agencies with the public. And I don't think that intelligence is necessarily a prerequisite to be a good intelligence director. For example, a lot of other former CIA directors, such as John Deutsch, George H.W. Bush, didn't have intelligence experience, and some who did, such as Porter Goss, ended up actually being pretty bad for the agency, and really the morale really plummeted under them.
Let's hit on another cabinet position. Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State. What do you think? I'll start with you, Amanda.
Well, I think she'll have a relatively easy confirmation process. That doesn't mean that senators won't question her harshly, but she understands how the Senate works. She understands the process, and I think it comes from a unique experience. She was First Lady. She traveled to more than 80 countries. She met not only with heads of state, but she also went to a lot of clinics. She went to small villages, and so brings a unique experience.
Bruce, what do you think? Was this a good choice?
I think it sends more positive signals than the Panetta choice. I mean, having her a senator, a former presidential candidate, will certainly send the signal that State Department is an important position. And also, I think it will be seen as bringing an activist role to State Department. She's going to be pushing for a bigger budget, a bigger role for State Department within the U.S. government, which is good. Secretary of Defense Gates has called for a bigger role, bigger defense for State, and that way we have a more balanced tool set, which I think more effectively achieves U.S. objectives overseas. And also, she's seen as more hawkish than President-elect Obama, and I think that will be useful in that it will show that the U.S. is interested in achieving these objectives, and she'll be a counterpoint, I think, to the view overseas that he will be overeager to have a summit agreement, a summit meeting with some of these rogue nations.
We're running short on time, but I want to hit on a couple things quickly. And when we talk about that, it looks like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama will be hitting the ground running, because it looks like the situation in the Middle East is going to continue, perhaps right up through the inauguration. What do you think about this? I mean, he's going to be tested right away for the whole the whole administration.
Right. The intelligence community, the State Department, and the President, they're not going to have any time, no learning curve time allowed. There are going to be a lot of issues right out of the gate. There's going to be the Middle East, and certainly terrorism, an area that we have to get it right on intelligence. And then also North Korea and Iran are certainly going to be areas that not in the not too distant future raise their head.
And Amanda, do you think that this is the type of situation where the Obama administration really has to do something, quote unquote, right out of the gate to, you know, kind of set the tone for the presidency?
I think it'll be important. I think a lot of people will be watching Hillary Clinton to see if she's able to broker some sort of agreement if one isn't reached before President-elect Obama gets into office. And right now, President-elect Obama has refrained from talking about foreign policy issues, saying there's only one president at a time. So I think people are waiting pretty expectantly to see what he will do. All
right, short answer before we go from each of you. What's the most important issue facing the new administration?
Definitely the economy.
I'd say the economy, but foreign policy, it's going to be the Middle East, Iran, and North Korea.
All right, Bruce and Amanda, thanks for joining us this morning. Appreciate talking with you. Best wishes. Allison, we'll send it back to you.